Hello, everyone, and welcome to a pretty exciting episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fan cast. I'm your host, Havokpus, and I'm joined by my co-host, Frozencreek. And, did something happen over the weekend, Frozen? Because, everyone seems like really happy. I'm not sure what the deal is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The Masters was on, and the first Japanese player to ever win it won. So
Yeah,
maybe it's that.
maybe. Could be. We're gonna get to the bottom of it though. In this episode, we're gonna dig down and figure out this mystery. We got some really quick kind of results, kind of slinging things at you. I don't want to list all of the victories that Rainbow Six did, but just so everyone knows, Rainbow Six is still crushing it. I just want everyone to be aware of that because they're untouchable. But Mango, our boy, he's been away from Smash for a while. I haven't seen like really a Smash event kind of go on or anything, but he was playing in the BTS Smash SCL2. I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with like the event or it seems to be like one of those like weekly things. But it was in the first week and he won. He was the champion for that week, the first place, which is really great because we haven't seen Mango in a while. I think actually compete in Smash, so it's good. It's good to see him actually like win a thing.
Yeah. Melee seems like one of those super land-based games. So I didn't actually get a chance to watch this, but that's super hype that they're back and playing because it's felt like it's been a really long time.
Yeah, I think it was going on maybe around the same time as the league team was playing, so everyone was really really focused on that. Like they even like I think they maybe even like made an announcement like WoW was playing, or like I think they just kind of announced like, hey, WoW won by the way. Well, this is all going on, you guys.
Oh, I missed it. I try not to look at Twitter during games, so yeah, I totally missed it.
WoW World of Warcraft actually they won 3-0 against Method, and I believe Method is one of the the stronger kind of North American World of Warcraft teams. So it's really great to see us pull out the 3-0. Big ups to the team continuing to be super strong. Halo finished second in last week's Halo 5 Pro Series. They the past few times they got like back-to-back first place finishes. This week it's second place. Continuing to see great things from the boys. Sad that they couldn't beat Sentinels this time. But Sentinels is a really good team, so But let's move on and talk about some stuff that we can maybe go a bit more in depth on. And that's C9 Blue and their results in the North American Challenger Series 1 thingy. I'm not sure what to call it because it's like this big long string of adjectives and descriptors. But they beat IMT 2-1, which is a pretty big victory because IMT is one of the bigger teams. But we did lose to 100 Thieves, who I believe went on to win the event, and then Version 1. So we finished fifth, sixth place. But I kind of want to talk about just how they performed this event versus previous events like this, where they're kind of moving through a qualifier to get to a larger event later. But this team looks like they've improved a lot. I'm not sure how much you watch Frozen of their play over the week and the weekend, but they look a lot better, and it looks like they really kind of nailed down specifically who's playing what roles, and they're moved off kind of trying to like experiment and do some weird stuff, and they're more in roles that they're comfortable with and roles that fit how the team functions, and their play is improved quite a bit. They played a lot better than we've seen them play.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch these. I don't remember why, but so I cannot vouch for that. But I am glad that they were able to vouch or to qualify for the challengers event.
Yeah.
I saw you throw down the gauntlet to the Hunter Talk though.
Yeah, I really wanted us to beat them, just so I could be like, oh, look at us, we beat you in the upper bracket or whatever. But sadly, that didn't happen. 100 Thieves is like a really good team. They have like a really smart, really talented team. I'm really curious to see like what happens next with the team, because I think that with these results, I think it shows that we have the makings of a stronger team if we just kind of practice this configuration instead of having to like leave constantly bouncing around between playing Omen to playing a duelist, or Relics having to play duelist, or like Zeta playing Jet, or Mitch playing Jet, and like everyone kind of just shuffling around like who's duelist, who's Sentinel, who is controller, that kind of thing. We have like sort of more rigid defined roles. I've always liked Relics on the Omen. He feels like he's a much more he's better at Omen, especially since he kind of dies early on in a lot of rounds. But I'm really curious to see if we're going to make roster changes or not. I think that you can probably ride out for the next few events just to see. But I think it'll probably be a thing of how often can we compete against these other teams, right? Like how often are we going to be able to beat Genji? How often are we going to be able to beat Immortals? Will we ever be able to beat 100 Thieves? That kind of thing. Where are we going to be able to land in other events? That kind of stuff. Tens, interestingly enough, his loan has been extended to like May. Um,
Oh, okay.
so I'm not.
I was curious about that.
Yeah, like there's like a space, I think, of where his loan ended or was going to end, and he was going to participate in like the Twitch Rivals event with Tyler One. Like he's on Tyler One's team for some reason. I don't know how this came about and how this formed, but he's on Tyler One's team for Twitch Rivals, which I believe actually starts today.
For Valorant?
No, for League.
Really?
Yes. Which I think the Sentinels are supposed to be like participating in an event like I think today or like this week, so it would make it so where he can maybe play with them. I don't know.
Is this the same tournament that Balls High, Medios, Sneaky, and double?
No, that is the Tyler One money match event, which is I think completely different. But he's gonna be playing on Tyler One's team, which is weird. And I think it coincides with like another event happening, so he may not be able to play with Sentinels. But I think that was because his loan ended, but then they renewed the loan. This is a really weird period. I think it's mostly because C9 are probably trying to either A, figure out some way to have tens rejoin and reintegrate into the team, or B, try to find someone able to pay the reasonably hefty buyout for his contract. Because you have like one of the best players in the world. You're not just going to give them away for free,
Yeah, I would hope not.
Like as much as people whine about contract jail and how that's damaging to the player or whatnot, it's like he's an extremely valuable player, and he agreed to a 3-year contract with Cloud9. If he didn't have the foresight to like think like, oh well, I got cold feet because I don't like playing with the team anymore, or the team that in my opinion that got formed with like his friends that basically like dissolved a bit because, hey, spoiler alert, your friends aren't pulling their weight, and he got a little mad about it. At least that's like maybe like one prevailing theory of why he's out. That's your fault. You shouldn't have signed the 3-year contract. You shouldn't have. Maybe you should have gotten a lawyer and renegotiated. Negotiated better. That kind of thing. So like, no one's really at fault. It's just like Cloud9 made an investment in you. You're not wanting to participate in the team, but they still have this contract in place, and they want to benefit from it. Either you playing for them and helping them succeed, or they're going to find a team that can actually pay for you, and then we'll sell you off. But until then, it's going to be this really wonky situation where he's loaned out to Sentinels. Also, while Sentinels, I guess, figure out what they're doing with their roster. Because I think that investigation with Sinatra's still pending. So everything
as it should be.
As it should be. Fuck him. And, everything's kind of up in the air right now. So who knows?
Yeah, so I actually did not know that, but while we are talking about contracts, I feel like it's a good time to talk about Keiti.
Yeah, Keiti left. C9 announced just out of the blue that she left, and some other people in the scene kind of did some digging, and it seems that she was just on like a month-long contract, which feels
it's the best guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of the best guess considering they looked at like when the announcement started and then when it ended. So it was probably, she had like a month-long contract or something. It ended either she couldn't negotiate with Cloud9 for like a better, more permanent contract. Maybe she got a better offer from like another team for a more permanent thing. Who knows? I'm not sure what's going on with C9 White, especially after she left, because she was so good. She's literally, I think she's like maybe the tens of the female Valorant scene, and I think it really sucks that we've lost another one. Considering she's so good, and she made our team that was, I think, already really smart with how they play, even better, and I think we were going to be unstoppable in any event that was just an all-female league. I think that we were just going to win outright because she was there, like so. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with C9 White. I think who's the one that's still in school? I can't remember. Jazzykins, maybe. No, I don't think it's Jazzykins.
I don't know then. I'm trying to think.
Hold on, let me look up the roster.
I thought it was.
I think it was Kitsumi. Maybe?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was either like Kitsumi or Alexis or I can't remember.
I think it was Jazzy because she's in high school still.
Yeah, it's whoever's in high school still. I can't remember. Like, I can picture her face, I think, but I can't like put the name together, which I feel kind of bad about. But I rarely see their face, really, so you can't really be mad at me.
The month-long contract seems to make sense, although it sounded like Cloud9 wanted her for longer, but I have to imagine that if she didn't take up an offer from Cloud9 that she has a better chance somewhere else. People are saying evil geniuses.
I've been seeing that. Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
So
I mean, I can't blame her, especially I can't blame her, especially if the contract was that short. Like you have to secure that money, and if you just won, she literally just won that Game Changers event. Everyone's obviously going to be keeping an eye on you, and if Riot is trying to push for this sort of women's league atmosphere where female players can kind of participate in their own space, you want to get as many strong players as you can, and if they have a better offer, you take those. So I don't, there's no ill will or anything. I wish there was more info in just Cloud9 just being like, hey, so she left. And we have no like information if there was like a team issue, or if it was really just she got a better offer. Hopefully it's the second one, because she seems really nice and she's a really good player.
Yeah, and if it were not another offer, I'm sure we'd find out in like a week or so.
Yeah, I'd imagine in a few weeks that there would be some announcement, and I can't imagine there'd be like a team issue, because everyone on C9 White seems to get along with each other, and they it doesn't seem like it's a bad atmosphere, and they I mean, if you won a tournament together, it couldn't be that bad. I don't know, but oh well. Moving on, Frozen, I believe someone won a spring LCS title last weekend.
Yeah, who was it?
I think I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark here. I think it was Cloud9.
Cloud9 did?
I think so. I think that's what maybe all the fuss was about. You know, everyone's posting all these pictures of smiling Sven, and
is that the team that has a mid laner from Europe whose pet hamster or guinea pig is named Fudge?
you know, I don't think it's that one. I think it's the team that paid $11 million for one of the most prolific mid laners of all time.
From Europe, though?
From Europe. He's from Europe, yeah.
Totally cracked?
Totally cracked. Totally insane. Clutch player. But
yeah, so...
But before you want to dive into this, do you want to talk about like the TSM TL series just a little bit to kind of build up to like the actual match?
I actually did not watch it because I was golfing, but
okay.
I do know that like the big news was that Team Liquid, Santorin was suffering from migraines and had to sit out for the weekend in Armao, formerly known as GSM Grig, had to step in.
Yeah, so I think it was really unfortunate. That's never a thing that you want to see from a player, regardless if you win or lose, to see them like, you're going towards this championship and, you just have to play like a couple more matches and then all of a sudden it gets kind of cut short. That's really unfortunate. I hope that he can recover really quickly, and use the downtime at least to recover. And, migraines are no joke. I know that sometimes, some people have just like crippling migraines where they can't do anything. And it's really bad. So hopefully, he gets some rest, he heals up. But I think Armeo was kind of a really good story because he really, I think, stepped up, considering he only was able to probably practice for like a week at most for both series, for the TSM game and ours. I think that for what he did, he looked really good. And the team, I think Team Liquid looked just as good, if not maybe a little better with him. I'm not sure if it was a confidence thing or just maybe how he played a little differently, but the team seemed to look at least a little bit more put together versus the first time we played against Team Liquid, where we were just kind of stomping them for the most part.
Yeah, outside of the game 1 or game 2 play where he inted into Fudge.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah, I really had to give him props. He played his heart out, man. And I think that's really great that he was able to step up that much in a really crucial time crunch. I hope that this does like give him a lot of, public appeal points and shows that he can play at, sort of a championship top 3 level with given the right roster. Hopefully, maybe a team will pick him up so he can actually start, because this really kind of showed that he is capable of playing really well, at least with the right team around him. Obviously everyone's going to play well if you have like Alfari and Jensen and Core JJ on your team. But I think that he wasn't like a detriment to Team Liquid in their losses, at least like in the grand scheme of things. At least I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. I think that Cloud9 just were better on the overall on the day.
Yeah.
And I think that we did get a little lucky that some stuff went our way in game 5 too. But I think overall we just performed better.
I think we really did. I think we had a concrete game plan and we really stuck to that plan. I think some of it has to kind of go on Alfari because he's getting ganked and he's literally like every time we would gank top lane, our first gank, it would be top lane and he would die top lane. So I think that we had this really great game plan to just get Alfari behind, make it so he can't be super impactful. I think we kept him on a lot of power picks, except for like I think game 3 we gave him GP, which I think was that kind of came to bite us. But I think we had a solid game plan overall. I really liked the drafts. Honestly, it showed a lot of flexibility in our team.
Yeah, it did.
And I think that every game was really close. Like watching. Like in the moment, I was kind of drifting in and out because I'd see like one game go really badly and I'd feel really stressed, so I'd quit watching. Like game 1, I quit watching because like I think we lost a fight, and it's just like, oh well, they clearly outscale it because you have Sion who just gets tankier and tankier. You had Jensen had Victor, who just scales really well, and Tactical had Zaya, and they just had like
And
a
we
really
had Seraphine.
yeah, and we had Seraphine, so it's like, well, we're not going to really do a lot of damage, and Callista really needs to ramp up and get a lot of spears before she can actually kill anybody. It's not exactly the most, we had Renekton, so it was really kind of a more early game kind of snowball type deal. Which we were doing, like we played the early game really great, and we were following exactly what the comp wanted to do. It was just they hit a point where it's like, okay, well, they scaled, and then it made it a lot harder. But we were like literally like a play away from winning. Like I think if Blabber was
we were like 3 different plays away from winning at like 3 different times.
Yeah, I think if Blabber had killed that Elder Drake, it would have been over, and it would have
just hit a smite.
Yeah.
Off Baron, off Dragon twice.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but I'm really glad that they were able to have like I think their comp was actually at a big disadvantage versus Team Liquid's, but they were able to like basically like narrowly lose, which I think is really good. I think game 2 was really great. I think that we showed this whole like wombo combo thing with Malphite, Orianna, Kai'Sa, Rakan. They, Team Liquid like just couldn't stand a chance with how much easy engage we had. We would just go and they would just die. And I think match 3, I actually really liked our draft. It was really different. It showed our flexibility of our players with Fudge going Karma top and having the Nocturne and the Victor. So we had like more scaling options, but we also had like a carry jungler rather than what's kind of
it was a weird draft. It felt like the Nocturne didn't have many options to do his job, and Fudge did not play Karma well. I did not think.
Blabber, I think the jungle meta right now is just it favors these bruiser champions like Hecarim, Udyr. What's another one? They mostly just played Hecarim, Udyr this match.
Yeah.
I think like what's another one? I'm trying to remember what Mad Lions played because I think they maybe had a bit more diversity. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like the more tankier jungle, like Volibear, I think is another one that I think maybe gets played a little bit. So
fast clears, tanky.
Yeah, fast clears that are able to sort of be the tanky engage for the rest of the team, and that's kind of where jungle is kind of at right now. So I think that it kind of feels out of step with a lot of what's going on, especially in at least how NA plays. And he just didn't have a lot of options. Like Jensen can shield himself. Udyr you're not going to be able to kill Udyr. And Alfari, he has the oranges, and I think after a certain point he just scales enough to where he'll almost like 2-shot you if he gets like a really good barrel setup down. And Aphelios, he scales really hard too, and you have to thresh for disengage, especially with the lantern. Like we even saw like a play where Blabber had like a really good shot for his ultimate to kill Tactical, and he went for it, but Core JJ saved the lantern, and as they timed it well enough to where as Tactical was getting yanked by the lantern, Blabber followed him into Core JJ, and then he died. So it was kind of like he didn't have really good targets. I think the Nocturne was maybe not the best pick, but I think we still made that match really close. I think game 3 was literally like, I think if we had a play go our way in the later stage of the game, we win that game. So like even in our losses this series, we were like pretty close to winning still. So it wasn't like we were getting crushed,
Yeah, and I don't think Fudge played Karma all that well. And watching it, I was curious as to why he was throwing out so many mantra Qs for no reason. Like to poke before a team fight. And I watched the highlights of the sneaky double F in Medio stream.
Mm-hmm.
And the sneaky was going insane about it too. Like, if you throw out a mantra Q and you hit Udyr, it does like 100 damage to him. And like mantra's on cooldown then for 20 seconds, so they can just engage and no shield.
No empowered shield. Yeah, I get that.
He did that a ton of times.
Yeah,
It was like bad.
I honestly I wasn't like I wasn't able like I wasn't paying attention to Fudge much, and I think that Fudge really wasn't like the focus of the composition. Like he was mainly there to like I'm gonna give Nocturne a big fat shield so he could go in and maybe kill Tactical. Or like Kaisa can like give Kaisa shield. Kaisa can like Deadly Pursuit over and try to like kill Tactical or Jensen. So like he wasn't the focus of the composition.
Yeah, but I am a Karma main right now, so
Oh,
I saw
okay.
it.
I see. So you're more okay. You're more cultured than I got you.
Well, not cultured, but cultured in Karma plays, I guess.
What? So I think our game 4 and game 5, I think we really stepped it up. I think it shows that this is why you have perks. Like where you're down 1-2 in a critical series. He has a lot of these untangible factors. He's a clutch player. He really came alive in playing Zoe and Silas in game 4 and game 5. But he's a clutch player. I think a lot of his leadership really shows in this series because when we're losing, it's a really narrow margin. When we're winning, we clearly have the tools and we have an idea of what we need to do to win. And his KDA is amazing. Like even in his losses, he only died maybe like once, and he got like a bunch of kills. Or a couple times, and I think this series really proved like why we made such a big signing, and why a lot of the intangible kind of factors that you can't just like pull stats on is really important.
Oh yeah. You could tell like during the game 4 pods. I think there was a pause in game 4.
Yeah, I think it was because
right?
the sun was going down, and
Yeah.
I don't know. That was one thing that really bugged me. I was like, why are they having an open air like outside event? Like, isn't glare gonna be a thing? Aren't they gonna like have trouble seeing the computer
like,
screen and everything?
Moderation. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems just like
it was weird.
It seems like a really poorly, unideal event.
Yeah, it was, and Sven went off on it in the post.
Oh yeah, the post game. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking of that like the whole time. I was like, they are outside. Like, I guess they had to be for.
Yeah, I guess for COVID like it makes it,
which makes sense in
Yeah.
a way, but like.
You think they would at least put up like
Yeah.
a screen or something so the sun isn't like in their
Yeah.
eyes. Yeah, it's
It was
weird.
weird, but I feel like the main play of Game 4 was Perks' Zoe bubble on Tactical that somehow fit through.
Oh yeah,
I
he
think it
threaded.
was
Yeah, he threaded. There was
Armao
like 3 other people
and-
kind of clumped
Yeah.
around him. He threaded the needle in this like really narrow margin, through this really
Yeah,
tiny
and
space, and
Armao-
it hit him.
Yeah, and I think it was Armao and Alfari could have blocked it and then just didn't.
Yeah.
So he got hit, and it was GG at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think that was the main play from game 4.
that really was like kind of the play for it. Other than that, it was mostly just like Blabber running in and getting like a really good engage and just killing someone. Like Sven, of course, him being on Kaisa, he'd kind of like teleport in and use his missiles to just kill everybody. But it was mostly Blabber and I think Sven diving with a lot of really good damage setup and stuff from perks. And Vulcan being on his best champion. But I also want to.
And I feel like game 5 it was like the highlight of the day.
Yeah, I was transitioning into that. And I wanted to give a really big shout out to the absolutely like mega mind, 1,000 IQ intellect of the coaching staff, because apparently that level 1 they'd been practicing that for like months, and they had that just sitting in their back pocket waiting for them to use it. And I was listening to interviews, and I think Perk said that, oh well, we knew that the game was over for game 4 and we were going to win, so we were just going to hold on to that for game 5. And I think that completely just destroyed Team Liquid's like mental, from a standpoint of just like, oh, they just lane swap bot lane. They had absolutely no idea. Alfari gets just level 1 killed as Cho'Gath. Fudge takes away the the bot side, blue camps, so Alfari can invade, so his experience is like completely fucked. So Blabber has an experience lead. Scion, you can't dive him. Especially with like Kaisa level 1, you're not going to do anything. So, Kaisa's kind of just having to like try to farm against this Scion, and Corey JJ has to rotate top lane, so he's going to be behind in experience, and Silas was able to do some really good early game roams while he could. So Jensen didn't really get that chance to really scale, and Perks was able to just get really far ahead and get some really good stats to keep ahead of his opposite. And Sven on Tristana, he played that Tristana perfectly. Like, I don't think there was a single time where he misplayed on Tristana. Especially in that one like 3v5 fight where Vulcan
by Dragon.
Yeah, Vulcan and I think Blabber died really early. But Perks was doing so much damage, and Sven kited it out and used all of his cooldowns like exceptionally. And we ended up getting an ace, and it was just like, oh my god, we probably won the game now.
And he got super lucky that Fudge killed.
The assist to give him the reset was also really key.
That fight was crazy.
Yeah, I actually yelled. I actually let out a little yelp when that happened, because it was so crazy that they were able to turn that around. But I think that game 5 was just that. I think that'll go down in LCS history as one of the most like insane game 5s. Or just series in general. I mean,
I think of all the ones I've watched, I think that was probably the most intense I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think normally when you watch an LCS championship, it's usually it usually doesn't get down to game 5, and the teams feel like they're not so close in terms of power level to where they're having to like really push each other. Like, usually it's like, oh well, they won 3-1 or something, or if it does go to a game 5, it's kind of like, oh well, they were kind of throwing one team was kind of throwing half the series, so it made it not as fun, or exciting. But this was such an exciting series, like watching it unfold, seeing TL win and then C9 win and then TL win and then C9 will win, and then it comes down to this game 5, and then they decide to pull like their their trump card, and oh well, I have Exodia here, and it's done, and everyone's just playing it out of their minds. And it's such a good championship. I think this is better than last year's. I think last year's we were definitely kind of smurfing on everybody in North America, but I think North America was also at such a lower power level than LCS was this year. So I think that it feels like a much more deserved kind of championship, if that makes sense, with how much harder we probably had to work for it.
Yeah. And it felt like that we kind of like earned it, facing two iterations of Team Liquid's junglers.
Yeah, that surprise, I think, was like how do you prep for that, right? Like you don't have like any footage, almost any real good film of Armeo. On top of that, you don't know how Armeo is going to play off of the Team Liquid members. So like, how do you really fit a game plan around? Like, do you just watch the TSM series and then just be like, okay, well, I guess this is how they're going to play. Here's our game plan for it.
Yeah, and despite like how long it was like of a day, like LPL went 5 games, LEC went five games, then we went five games. It was like the best.
Yeah. As a League of Legends fan, it was probably
it was like the best day ever.
Yeah, you were probably feeling really spoiled with how much great competition was going on just that day. I think that that's a really great. It makes me really excited for MSI. Not only because we actually get to go this year, and it kind of makes up for us missing it last year due to the pandemic. I'm really excited to see some of these teams, face off and see how we measure up, not only as this iteration of Cloud9, but what we can kind of learn from it. I think that I'm not going into MSI thinking that, oh, we have to finish at this place or it's, we're fucking doomed. I'm going into this more, I'm really excited to see the competition that we get and how we can grow from it, because I think this is such a good opportunity for everyone here. I think that our veteran players like Blabber and Sven and Perks, I think, can learn a lot from it, because I think anytime you have international competition, you can take away a lot of things from it. But I think just, Vulcan and Fudge, Fudge has improved astronomically from when he started. Everyone was, when he started, everyone's like, not really feeling him and thinking that he's going to be more of a liability. Now he's playing really well, and he's such a better player now than when he started at the beginning of the season. And I think him going to MSI is just going to transform into such a stronger player. And I think Vulcan, who hasn't had a lot of international experience himself, I think that's going to really help him become a better player. So I think that just overall it's going to improve our team so much by just being able to go there. And it's going to be such a fun time. I'm really excited just to see the event. I think also just because we haven't really seen international competition in a while, and it feels good, I think, to have an MSI again and to have teams get together. And especially after last year, I think competition didn't feel nearly as level because of all the stuff that happened for Worlds.
Or yeah, so this is actually Cloud9's first MMSI that they're attending. So I guess we can talk about it a little bit. It starts May 6th in Iceland. So we should be seeing some news about their travel soon, because I think they have to get there 2 weeks early to quarantine / scrim and such. Yeah. But the groups are already drawn, so we know who we're going to be playing.
We have kind of a tough group.
Any group with NA was going to be tough because we were the top 2 seed.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're in a group with Damwon, who walked through LCK like it was nothing. So they're going to be good, and I do not anticipate beating them. But we also have Infinity Esports from... Infinity is from Latin America, and Detonation Focus Me from Japan. The only player I recognize from either of those teams is White Lotus from Detonation Focus Me.
Yeah.
I think he was at Worlds last year.
Yeah, Detonation Focus Me seems to be like always the team from the LGL that ends up going.
White Lotus is from Infinity.
Yeah. I recognize his name. But yeah, I think that really, at least for our group, Daemon's probably going to be the only team that we actively struggle with. I think we shouldn't have a harsh time against the other 2 teams. I'm really looking forward though to see how this goes in just because I think NA's been playing on a couple patches behind for the past month for playoffs. So
but we don't have a MMSI patch yet. It's not announced.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering if Viego's going to be available. I'm not sure how pros and the pro meta has taken to Viego.
On the website I'm looking at, it looks like Gwen and Viego are both disabled, but I'm not sure if that's going to stand. But I have to imagine, because it sounds like he's buggy or something.
Yeah, how his kit works is kind of weird. So I can't blame them. I think especially since maybe not all the regions with whenever patch they would be on weren't able to play and have enough competitive experience with Viego to, I think, allow him to be on it, which I think is totally fair. I've been just wanting to see pro play have Viego for a while, because he feels so broken with how much healing he does, especially with the resets you get from his passive, to be able to not only heal, but you can take the stats and the kit, the basic kit, not their ultimate obviously, of whoever you kill. So you're just you could take away fights so easily if you're able to get enough resets, and it's just so stupid. And I want to see what pros really do with that.
Yeah, it sounds like we might have to wait till summer for that.
Okay, that's fair.
But for the groups, our group C, it's gonna be round or robin, best of one. You play each other twice, and then top two from each group go on to the rumble, which I believe is a double round robin, best of one. Top four teams advance to the best of fives, which we should have a good chance to make it to the stage 3 knockouts.
Yeah, I think at least getting to the best of. I think that we should at least be able to. I say that, but like with if we have to do like best of ones, stuff can happen. But on paper we should at least be able to make the to that part.
Yeah, but once we know more about that event, we can talk about it. The only other thing happening in League this week is Cloud9 Academy is taking on contracts in Evil Genius's Academy tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that starts tomorrow. And then if we win, we'll play the winner of Evil Genius's Prodigies and No Org. No Org, is that it?
I think it is. Yeah. It's no org. Yeah, this whole proving grounds thing. I think how they're doing it. I think with how many teams there are and like how the lower brackets functioning. I kind of don't like it just because like we'll play a game and then it's like, okay, well you have to wait like an entire week or if not more just to play like your next opponent, and it's just like why are you making us do this? This kind of sucks.
Yeah, but it is good for teams involved to be able to play more games.
Yeah, I think.
Which I like.
Yeah, I will say I am excited, just because we're playing contracts. He was a former player of ours. His career and his trajectory has been kind of weird because it looked like he was really trending upwards on C9, but then he had a bunch of issues on Golden Guardians, and then he got kicked back down to Academy, and I think he's trying to, he's trying to get back up there, and I think he can. I think it's just like he maybe left C9 and their development process a bit too early, which I think seems to be kind of a trend with a lot of our Academy players. Like, we'll have our Academy players for like a year or two. And then, obviously orgs need to the teams need to improve their rosters so they can be competitive, so they'll get some players of ours. But we'll hoard all of the best players. So it's like, we kept Fudge. Fudge looks really great, and he's improved a lot. But then, Diamond and Palafox were kind of struggling. So, I think it's a really interesting debate of how much is player ability and how much is team environment, because it seems like C9 has a really good team environment and a lot of resources to where they can really elevate a player's play. Like, when Kuma was on C9, I remember like Kuma and Golden Glue and all these other players that aren't on C9 anymore, when they were on C9, they looked really good and it looked like they had improved, a lot, and looked like they were going to be really good fits for the LCS, but then they got to LCS or on other teams, and they really struggled to kind of push through and have good results. So it's really interesting from that perspective on how much is just C9 has a way better program, a way better coaching staff, and resources to where they can elevate a player's abilities, and how much is on just the player outright and how good they are.
Yeah. I don't have too much to add on that right now, but I feel like once this Proving Grounds is done and we have time off until MSI, I think that's a conversation we can have. The final is set for April 25th, so we'll have a week, or we'll have 2 weeks in between the grand final and MSI. So that would be a great time.
Yeah, yeah. I'd actually really like to talk about sort of more of the, I guess, pro play as a whole, and sort of the various atmospheric dynamics of how things work. Because like it seems like EU has like a really good atmosphere for it because they have the Masters series, so you're having all these upcoming European players and all these teams that aren't in the LEC are able to kind of, really drill down and pump out a lot of like these like really rookie talents, and some of the rookie talents really improved. Some obviously haven't. Others. I'm not sure how like LCK does it. Does LCK still do the whole promotion thing, the promotion relegation thing, or are they franchised now?
They're franchised now, so I don't believe
Okay,
so.
I'm not sure how the Korean scene in the LPL scene functions anymore for getting new players. I imagine they have a similar Challengers Academy type tier 2 scene, because otherwise how else would like you actively get new players, right? Like, it's I feel like if you don't have like a tier 2 scene, it just feels impossible. But NA's approach is kind of weird, and I think that especially with how some of the NA players that are floating around that have been around for a while, like Contracts, for example, I think that he's a really interesting case study of kind of that, and I think that'd be a really interesting kind of conversation to really have.
Yeah, but we can save that for after the at least next week, because we won't have as much to talk about, or in 2 weeks, whenever that is.
Yeah, it depends on like what happens next week and like what else is going on. I think Cloud9 Blue, I think their event that they play in is, let me just pull this up really quick just to make sure. I think, at least according to, I use the Spike. I know some people use VLR. I use the Spike for Valorant stuff, but according to this, for the VCT Stage 2, North America Challengers won, and that's a mouthful. I hate that you have to say all of it. It says the top 4 teams qualify for Challengers Finals. The bottom 4 teams qualify for Challengers 2 main event on April 22nd. So we're in Challengers 2. I imagine you probably have to get probably top 4 to go to the Challengers Final after that, if there's not a Challengers 3. The good news for that is that we'll be up against smaller competition, so it'd be easier. But yeah, C9 Blue won't be playing until the 22nd. I'm not sure what other teams have going on, if the Halo team's going to be playing and all that other kind of stuff. So we'll have to see. We may not have an episode next week, but keep everyone's eyes out. And honestly, Frozen, I guess final thoughts. How are you feeling after this championship? I think personally, I feel really good that it's not. We weren't just. I was more nervous that we were going to lose, and then it would feel like spring last year was more of a flash in the pan of NA as a whole was so collectively weak that we were able to get the championship. But I'm really relieved that not only went to 5 games, it was a tough 5 games, and we proved to be the stronger team. I'm really glad that we won, and I think that this is one of the few instances where I think MSI is getting like the deserved North American team to represent the region. And just big props to everyone involved: Fudge, Blabber, Perks, Sven, Vulcan, the coaching staff. Big props to them for, I think, really showing just what C9 is capable of with a large and extremely intelligent coaching staff for how they navigated playoffs. So I'm really happy. Enjoy the win, and I can't wait for MSI. It's gonna be great.
Yep, that's our next challenge to tactical, and then do we have our first chance to win a spring split or a summer split in a while too?
Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. I think that summer, I think it's where a lot of teams are gonna really turn it on. It's gonna be. I think there's probably gonna be some roster shenanigans, maybe. Maybe for some of the lesser teams more than the upper teams. But I think I could see some roster swaps happening. I'm really curious to see, because I think spring, it really showed what a lot of teams need to improve on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like how's 100 Thieves going to manage, their situation and come out to be a stronger team? How is TSM going to like kind of regain their identity when it feels like a lot this split they didn't have like one true voice. It was everyone trying to do their own thing, and sort of them kind of bumping into each other and just sort of going in the right direction sometimes. Is is TL going to try to look for revenge and get that first place finish in summer after a kind of tumultuous spring split where they weren't performing, I think, as heavily as people had kind of anticipated. There a lot of really good narratives. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. But that's not coming for a few months, so we can talk about it then. But I think that's all for this week.
Yes. Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow us at C9 Bodied, and good job. Thanks for coming.
Big win this weekend. All right, bye guys.